Next up, we have this UV printer with automatic table and lift. And the problem with this printer is that these, let me show you on this one, these, I don't know, threads or thread holders, because it's on the carrier for the head. Thread holders are broken, so the head is dangling around when the printer is printing, and also the chassis is pretty much slowing down after some prints. That might be partially solvable over here to remove this covers for the rings over here and lubricate a bit a couple of times, but that still doesn't change the problem we have over here. So the best thing to do, and we're gonna definitely have to do it, is to replace this chassis inside, which is worn down, with this one, which is from one I don't know, I think it was a DTF printer, because I can see there's some white ink over here, and it had some problem with the pump, I think. I can't remember. I think that's solved, or with the motherboard. Can't remember right now because it's been a while after we checked this one. But the state of this one is not important, because we only need the chassis, so we're gonna disassemble all other things apart on this one, and also on this one over here. So it's gonna be quite a challenge, because this is a UV printer, and we're gonna have to drill some holes over here for this carrier for the water tubes. And yeah, this repair is gonna have to go into, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 parts maybe, depending on how many problems are still there gonna be to solve, because it's not in 95% is not only just replace the head, replace this, replace that. It's if the printer had some mileage or has some mileage, it's usually five or six problems. So we're gonna see how this is gonna go, but definitely there's a lot of things to do here. It's not an easy job, but if you happen to have these problems, this is what you have to do. So I'm not maybe gonna be able to film everything from close look, but because I'm filming myself, but you will get the point what you need to do if you decide to do so as well. We can start with this one. So basically all the stuff apart from the chassis itself has to go off, has to be taken off. So let's just go one step at a time. So this is the keyboard. So maybe the first thing that we should be removing, because you can see that it is already half apart. Paper roll, we should disconnect the power supply for the paper roll, and then you have 2 screws on this side, 1 screw on the left, over here, and of course you have to unplug the cables that are going through the whole holders on this left side. Let me just get rid of the screws first. All right. So yeah, you have to unplug the flat cables over here, every one of them, because this will be disassembly of everything. So the flat cables are off, the sensors need to be sensors for lifting up the mechanism have to be disconnected as well. And while you're at it, you could disconnect all other cables that are plugged in the motherboard over here. Okay, so let's see, we usually have the two holders, metal holders over here that are holding these two small small rings, sorry. But obviously we've already been removing something from this printer, so yeah, some parts are already removed. Okay, so we got the paper roll out. This is a perfectly good paper roll, so maybe you've seen in previous videos regarding the DTF ordinary remake for DTF. Sometimes, or during time, with time, you need to replace the, maybe there's gonna need to be to replace the paper roll, so we're gonna keep this as a spare part. All right, so let's see. Yeah, the cables are actually, I think they're gonna stay inside, and that's about the only thing that we're gonna be leaving in. All right, so we need to, besides the bigger screwdrivers, you also have to have these small ones, because there's a lot of hooks you have to release. So this is the paper sensor. We need to push the hook inside and pull it from the rear. All right, so that's gonna be another spare part. Let's see if we can remove some cables. Of course, this is not even fixed. Okay, this is the cable for the pump over here. We're gonna have to get that out as well, because I think that the pump is working in the old printer is working pretty good. All right, and still what we're gonna have to do is to make some cuts over here with the metal, because of course you know that UV printers have a lamp here on the left side, so we're gonna have to make some space over here for the lamp to come out. So that's not gonna be easy as well, but let's see what can we do about the rest of this. All right, so the motherboard is not fixed with the chassis. That's good, so that will probably mean that we've replaced the motherboard before, so that's gonna make the things a bit more easier. All right, so let me put this aside. Okay, let's see what else can we do. We should get rid of these parts over here in the middle, and how do we do that? We simply have to remove this front, I don't know how you call it, rail. Alright, so you have the two screws here on the left. Try not to lose too much screws, but if you lose some, that's not a big problem, because all of these screws are pretty much the same, so you can put some other that you got from the disassembly. Alright, so we have to unscrew this part over here. Okay, so the front screws are holding this part on the chassis, and the top screws are holding the parts we also have to remove, but that are below the rail. So let's just get this part off first, and you're gonna see what else we're gonna do. Alright, so basically every screw that is here on the front has to go. So now you can see, you can take this whole part off, and you have these two parts that could be useful for some other projects. You don't have to recycle them. These shapes are pretty useful. Okay, and this part was holding the wheels for the paper inside, but since the printer was already converted to DTF, the wheels are not here, but also this carrier has to go. So we need to remove all the unnecessary parts. The chassis is what we want. Okay, so this will go into recycle, and this we will put back later after we disassemble all the other stuff. Okay, so let's see, we need to pull this rod or shaft out. So we need to spin this white ring over here to the inside and push it out. Okay, and we also have let's say a spring over here that is holding the shaft at the end, so you just have to pick it up with the screwdriver and release it like this. It would be easier if you have pliers, but you have to remove this thing. Alright, so now you can pull it out like this. So this would be recycled. We're not gonna use that one for anything else. Okay, so now you can remove this metal part over here, and it's pretty simple because you have only one screw holding it over here on the left, which is kind of strange, but it's much easier for us. All right, so if we were doing a DTG conversion, we would put this back to get some sturdiness, but on the UV printer it's not really necessary. All right, so now this piece has come off by itself, so there's some metal parts over here that we'll take out also, because all of these things are gonna go to the recycle plastic. All right, so this is metal, this is plastic, and you also have this metal piece inside, which we're gonna have to have some other screwdriver like this one to take this off. Like this. All right, so this is gonna go to metal, this is gonna go to plastic. Okay, what else? What else do we have that we need to get rid of? So the next thing we need to get rid of is you have some screws over here beneath these wheels over here, so you have to get them all out in order to release the motherboard box from behind. So we're gonna do that next. All right, so we got this one that's holding this plastic. It's some kind of a lever. All right, we got that one out, and there's two more about that one. Okay, and you got, I think, two more, yes, from beneath. And we have to get rid of those as well. All right, so I think we should be able to get the motherboard box out. Of course, one thing I did forget is that you have one more screw over here from the rear side that you have to unscrew, just left of the motor over here. Okay, so I think we should be able to get it out. So this is the motherboard box. It's not screwed in because we were replacing this motherboard or repairing it, so that is okay. We're gonna have to put it aside for a moment. All right, that's gonna be a spare part. All right, so let's see what else can we do over here. Yeah, we should remove this sensor over here. Okay, I hate when that happens. So you don't really have to go this way. You can disassemble some other parts if that's gonna be easier for you, but I'm pulling out what I see first would be the most easiest thing to remove, so you have to. All right, this is the sensor for the encoder, and maybe we can move this wheel over here while we're here. So let's get to the back for a moment. So there's a couple of stuff that needs to be taken off, so we can take this motor off, for example, remove the belt, and the motor is fixed with 3 screws over here. We're gonna remove all 3 of them. All right, 1, 2. And 3 is a bit more complicated, but reachable. All right, so this is our motor, and just below the motor there is one more screw that you need to remove, because we want to remove this front rail behind the main shaft. All right, so we got that one, and we got 3 more, even 3 more screws over here in the middle, and 1 here on the right. So we're gonna have to remove all of them. Okay, so we got them all out. So now, while we're already in this position, we might pull some other things out. Maybe this white plastic. Let's gonna see if it's gonna be easier for us after we remove this spring holder over here. So this has 3 screws as well. Okay, and also has a couple of hooks over here that you're gonna have to push from the other side. Let me just see if I'm gonna be able to do it this way, because sometimes you can't really. All right, so it seems to be working that way as well. Something got stuck. Okay, so now we've reached the springs. We're just gonna unhook every one of them, pull them out, and now we should be able to pull out the wheels as well. I'm just pulling them up. All right, they still are kind of stuck, and you have to pull this thing out as well. So now I think we should be able to get this white piece out like this. All right, so you can use a bit of force if necessary. Let's see if we can release this rail. We've already unscrew, so we have to push it bit to the left like this. All right, so we have two more metal bars. This one is interesting for some other projects. If you're gonna do something like that, you should recycle other stuff. All right, so let's see what else we need to get rid of. We need to pull out this main shaft over here. So as you can see, there's also one spring over here, which we have to get out. All right, so we have it over here. Okay. So how do we get to this shaft over here? We have this piece. I don't really know what's the technical term for it on English, but it's securing the shaft in the place, so we have to pull it up a bit. All right, so it popped off, and now we have to turn this plastic ring up and push it inside. So it's kind of complicated. Push it inside to release the shaft. I just need to get it a bit more up. All right, so to the inside, and we got it like this. Okay. Yeah. So for the older models of printers where we have used this shaft to move the table, we could save it as a spare part, and also this is a spare part because sometimes we had to replace this round encoder on UV printers, so we're gonna have to put that aside for a moment. Let's see what else can we do. As you can see, there's this shaft over here is kind of dry, so we're gonna have to put some oil on it, but we're gonna do that a moment later. We have this plastic piece that was holding the main shaft in the place, so we should get it out because we're not gonna have any use of it further. So the principle of removing is the same. You just have to spin this part up and pull it out like this. So next thing we have to do, we should be actually we could put the rail back, and one more thing we have to do, we have to pull out this pump out because we're still gonna try to use the old one. If it's not gonna work as it should be, we will replace the old pump with this one because this one is probably functional, but we can do that when this chassis is gonna be already mounted on this printer. So let's just move this one out for a moment. And also these cables over here are a bit different than the ones that are probably inside, so we're just gonna try to keep the things as original as possible, but that doesn't mean that we cannot use this one as well. But let's just see what's gonna happen with the stuff that is already mounted on the old chassis. So I'm gonna remove this one for now. Maybe we're gonna have to use this one, but we also have to know the condition of the old one. If it's usable, we're still gonna use it and keep this one as a spare part, because this has only used DTF ink, so it's gonna be pretty much useful for the UV as well. Of course, we're gonna have to cover the transparent tubes over here, but let's just see what's the condition of the old one first, and then we're gonna deal with this one. I can see some plastic pieces over here in the pump. They're gonna fall out when I turn the pump around, so let me just unscrew it first. Okay. Okay, so this is gonna be the pump from this chassis. Oh yeah, I forgot to release the ground wire over here on the back, which is screwed also with one screw. Okay, got it released, so now I can pull the pump out. Kind of long cable over here, and that's the difference, because some pumps have a connector over here and some have a long cable that is going to the motherboard, so this is a bit more different. And there's one plastic piece over here, I don't know what that is. Let me just get it out. Alright, so you can see it over here. We don't need that because something could get stuck inside the mechanism, but other than that, I think that oh yeah, we are missing the wiper here as well. I don't know why, but there should be a rubber wiper over here, which we don't have over here, but we can put it back easily from if we take it from some other old pump that is not functional, but still we have it for a spare part. So this is a good example. You pull out probably a perfectly good pump which is working, but you don't have a wiper on it, so you take the old pump that is not pumping no more, just take off the wiper or maybe this capping station or whatever, put it on this one, and you got a fully functional pump. That's why some things have to still remain inside your workshop, because you never know what you're gonna need out of these parts you get off.